What about the whole concept of having a life outside of trading? I think it's a worthwhile topic, and this is coming from the person who's been obsessed. Like, business has been my thing. It was my coping mechanism for stressful periods of my life. It was and is just a huge part of me and how I'm wired. But having something outside of trading to where win, lose, or draw, you've done your job for the day. You're going back and having a trading plan. Your job, if you stop making it to make money and just to do a good job and to perform well, right? Your job is to follow your trading plan well, to follow the rules written by your employer. Only difference here is you are your own employer. I'm gonna take a bartending class because my daughter and my friend want to take it. So I said, why not? So I'm gonna take it. It should be fun. Businesses outside of that, I'm gonna heavily look back into real estate when we get back, probably towards September. There's a lot of places that I'd like to own a lot more land, which obviously takes a lot more money, capital, for sure. But that's where I'm headed. I think right now, I don't like speaking death, but you can see the turn of events in a lot of different industries. I know that this is booming up, I know that, but Amazon storefronts are down. A lot of them are down because Amazon bought the buy box, right? I still think any business is possible, whether it's a cleaning business, whether anything you can automate. Any business for the most part, I believe is super possible. Hands down, I believe that. But I think that there's a lot of, you have to be very niche to be successful in some of those. I met this chick at a nail salon a few days ago, and they literally just create TVs and like appliances for very, very high-end clients. They don't even move it. They just come over, create it, and leave for the moving company. And they charge a very pretty penny to make that work. It's kind of cool. Like, the niche markets, I think, are what's doing the best. So anything that you can super niche down in on, content creation is still a big deal. But I think I want to be in a world where people are not buying and selling their attention, because your time is the thing that's most valuable. So I have my feelings about that. But I think if your attention is what's for sale, I think it's what you should protect the most, because your attention is what's for sale. And it's being bought right now, every second of the day, in this class included. And I'm, being super honest, your attention, your time is what's being sold. And I think that is what you should be guarding the most.
The regular job, same way.
Well, if you take the same concept, school is taught to be an employee, the whole attention for sale thing is literally just a different methodology of the same thing. Like, your attention is what's for sale. So if they can't get you where they need you, they're going to put you somewhere else. I feel kind of strongly about that. Like, your attention for the day, stop giving it away if you can. Stop giving it away. But David said, I still work for myself, but I hope to retire as soon as my trading to fund other streams of income, Turo, Airbnb, and be able to help the needy. Before you invest in Airbnb, join the forum online. There's a Facebook forum for Airbnb owners. Go join that and get an idea of what that really looks like. Because if you have enough of them, I think it's lucrative. Turo, I think, is great. Actually, Turo, I think, is probably a way better idea than Airbnb. Much better. The cost for entry, do the math. Obviously, a house is an asset that appreciates. But right now, given all the competition, a lot of states are limiting access to Airbnbs. They're putting a cap on it. There's a lot of things going on in that industry that I think could make it very, very hard. And so if it's, again, not niche, now if you're going to have a bed and breakfast kind of style, I know a friend of mine has a themed Airbnb, which is, 6-7 bedrooms, and it's awesome. It's an experience Airbnb. Again, that's different. That's very niche. But if you're not going to go niche, then you got to be careful. Don't go niche. Be careful in most of those industries. And to be able to help the needy. So as we help others, right? As we help others see. I have a big resource for info about trading in your Roth IRA. I do not have that. Although, depending on your age, I think that's definitely a good idea. Definitely. E-commerce is good, but remember, people are leaning away from the bigger stores, but no one can compete with Amazon. Remember, Temu, Shein, they used to be 3-4 weeks out. Now they're 3-4 days out. They're not taking so long. AliExpress, which was a source provider for anybody who white labeled stuff. Alibaba was a source provider for any of us who white labeled. Is now we can get something shipped from AliExpress and Alibaba in 4 to 5 days, which is insanity. It's because they started putting warehouses here. They started putting warehouses in America, and now they're not, 2 to 3 weeks out. So that's a huge thing too. for e-commerce. E-commerce, I think that's, sorry, I can talk about business all day long. What business would you guys want to start? If you knew you couldn't fail and we could start a business together right now, and you wanted partners, what would you start? Because I do. I want to start some new things here in the next couple of months, just to stimulate my mind. I want, obviously, real estate and land is going to be one of them. Salon suites, that's a good one. We have some here too. Automatic car washes, that's a good one. But even those are becoming monopolized. But honestly, I think you'll do well with the awesome, brilliant lady. But she talks about all kinds of different businesses. She talks about laundromats, and I know that they go in a certain area. Heck, I don't even think I've walked into one in my entire living life, walked into a laundromat to know that is. But remember, they're only usually in certain parts of town. But my brother sent me this thing about halfway housing, because if I turned any of the houses into that, it would be a worthwhile thing. And then he's healthy food drive-through. Food is huge, but that would be huge. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say is a lot of people spend a lot of time looking at menus in restaurants trying to find something that is healthy they can eat or drink. And you had a whole place dedicated to just that with the drive-through, then they wouldn't have to do all the research. They would know everything's healthy.
Nathan and I, my oldest, wanted to look for something to eat and just something that was cleaner. We were going to eat out. But you can't just find a, go-to fast food dish. Fast food's the wrong word, but thick food. It's not like you've got a smoothie shop. There's a couple around that has like organic ingredients, supposedly, but there's just nothing that is, you can
And
truly,
also healthy and affordable. Sometimes those two aren't the same.
no. But if you're spending $20 on a pizza, heck, $40, $50 on a pizza anyways, I mean, $20 on a meal that is, you know, authentically good, it's just not out of this ballpark. Because if you go to a diner, there's a new place where I live, their burgers are $18
Yeah.
with like 9, 10 tater tots. Like, and don't get me wrong, they say it's sourdough, fresh made bread, and it's all, grass-fed meats, but yeah.
If you make it unaffordable for most people, it's kind of fun.
True.
I mean, these days, and I'm not going to say a little late for this, but you can go through an Arby's drive-through and buy 3 things that is over $20. It's ridiculous.
True. I like warehouses, storage.
Storage is a big deal.
Big deal. Like, especially like you notice it with foods outside of, homes and houses and all that, because they say like even people who are like a little bit above like higher middle class are starting to go to like more so like regular, like, I guess, intermediate type of fast food places like the Cavas and the Chipotles, where usually they were going to like, mid-level restaurants on a regular basis. It's becoming a lot more expensive for people. So even the people who are making a reasonable salary have deviated as far as how they're spending and how often they're going out to eat. If you notice too, you see a lot of chains that used to be doing well are starting to close down locations in certain areas. So that's a thing too.
There's a big one in this region called Shoney's. It recently closed down. It's been around forever. It recently closed down because they couldn't afford to stay open.
Yeah. Food is hard. I think anything that you can automate. I know coaches and the content creator thing is huge. I feel a moral objection to selling a course for $50,000. And I know that maybe I shouldn't. I'm not, quote, devaluing myself. I know it's all the rage, right? This whole high ticket item. But personally, I just feel a moral objection. So even if I did pitch the story that says, hey, I made 7 figures before I was, 20 something, right? Single mom, blah, blah, blah. And I pitched the story and I could. I just feel a moral objection to selling a course for $50, but people are doing it. Like the whole.
Well, here's the saying too, I mean, even if it's the best course in the world with advice that works, a small percentage are going to succeed following the course.
That.
But Jenny, if I know you as well as I think I do, your purpose is to try to help people, succeed on their own with what you're doing. If you were to create a course that costs $50,000, that goes against what you're trying to do to begin with. Because, who can afford $50,000 when you're just trying to, just trying to get started?
You'd be surprised. Even myself, I've been dumb and young, and I've paid it. I've paid exponential amounts of money. And then don't get me wrong, some of the information is incredibly valuable, but it is at the end of the day, what it comes down to is good marketing, right? It's presented in a way that is perceived value, right? And I don't necessarily disagree, because I believe the connections, the mindset, the room full of people you end up with is where the value comes from. But there's nothing I'm going to tell you that, said or alluded to, that your mother probably hasn't alluded to, that you haven't heard in some context if you've read the Bible,